It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK into building.
Yo, 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 good morning, good morning.
Okay, yeah, obviously over 60.
My mouth is swollen.
Oh.
Still swollen, but well, I'm going to the dentist today. Please pray for me.
You'll be all right.
Be healed.
Meanwhile, please, I have to first thank someone sent gifts for me. I think they sent for the ladies as well. Fumi and a CYK. Thank you very much. The gifts were lovely. Grateful.
Was that the one I gave you yesterday? Which one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, they had names on them?
Yeah, the one you gave me had was someone called Fumi.
All right. So all
this else called CYK.
So the stuff I bought from the UK just came in yesterday over the weekend. I think yesterday I got it yesterday, so I started distributing. So I have delivered your message so that the ladies know that I actually delivered the message.
Yes. So
thank you.
I
Lovely
want to
gifts.
say that thank you first before I rant, because you know last week I think you carried it on the show where some cars were auctioned off, and while I agree with them, they need to start checking their security agencies. I was on the express and there was a police car coming on the express. So for me to move, I had to wait for other cars to pass. And there he was flashing me, a police, and he was doing his siren. And I've seen siren all over the world.
Yeah.
They don't go on the wrong side of the road. Where are you going?
Exactly.
Put your siren on the right side of the road. You're on the express.
What we've been told is that when you see that kind of thing, if you have an opportunity, take a picture, then post it and send it to them. Because obviously they're also trying to clamp down on these security operatives who are breaking the law. So whenever you have an opportunity, just take a picture of the plate number, they'll trace them and hopefully that...
Today it was FRSC again. FRSCO.
Where?
On this same express.
Taking one way.
They weren't taking one way, but they were, you know, on the road where you're not supposed to be, where they stop downforce from going.
Yeah.
I mean, they were there, and you know, they will come and cut into you. That's how they scratch you. And I was just frustrated this morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I have an apology. I have a birthday that I was supposed to call and send messages on Friday. My family friend turned 60. Her name is Fatima Iyabosola Balogun. We call her Bisi's mom. Happy birthday, ma. I'm really sorry that I came late, but I wish you many more fruitful years on earth.
There's an apology. I think it was something happened. Okay, it's all good.
An apology. I supposed to it was on Friday. She told me.
No problem.
Today is Thursday, almost a week after.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Just yesterday, I caught the protest that's happening in Iran. I don't know if people have followed it. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, so there's a moral police in their own country, and this girl and her brother were about to enter a mall, and I think maybe she didn't wear her hijab properly or something, and she was arrested. And I think it's normal, you know, you get arrested by the moral police, but in her own case, it led to her death. And it has just been such a huge and powerful movement. What actually brought my, you know, how I found the story was I saw videos of Iranian women just cutting their hair in protest to what happened to her. Like, for them, that's just to show, you know, on video cutting off their hair. And yeah, so it's just, you know, it shows that we all have challenges in our different countries, and people come out and protest in whatever way that they can. And I just thought that for a woman to take, you know, scissors to her hair, that's really powerful message. And I hope that, you know, somehow in their country they are able to resolve this. And I know the life is lost, but I just thought it was powerful.
Really powerful. Well, today I'm going to the Ankara for my mom's funeral, because I was trying to figure out where she needs Ankara for. I was like, yeah, really 60. But yeah, today is 1 year my mom died. Yes. Exactly a year ago, and we'll be visiting her today, you know, just to family. My brother came in from the US the other day, it's a really emotional moment. Huh?
Which brother?
Lai.
Okay.
You know, he's here, and it's just the time for family. So, you know, that's just, we're not doing any parties. As I said, we wanted party, and I'm like, there's no party. So, but hey, it's one of those. I remember that moment. I remember that last moment, that very last day. You know, and we're all around her. You know how she took her last breath, and it's just, I just thank God for it's been a year, and I so continue to.
Let me tell you something funny, is that on the day of the funeral, the card that we're supposed to use, I just could not find mine, and then I just found it last week.
Are you
I
kidding
did not
me?
find it ever until last week I found it.
Oh, sugar, interesting.
So, you know, I came on the show, I was like, when is your mom's whatever? It's like, it's a few days. I'm like, I just found that card.
Let's go on a break. It's Thursday. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. PDP quakes as UK's group opts out of Atiku's campaign. Court order won't stop negotiation with ASUU, says Ngige. Shekarau notifies Senate of defection to PDP. Buhari, I will bequeath legacy of credible polls. 94.4 million liters crude oil stolen daily, says government. Nigeria, US, Germany, others still packed on food security. Dignitaries greet Tinubu at 62, and Senate confirms Ariwola as Chief Justice of Nigeria. Okay, let me start with we want to start? Go ahead.
Okay, yes.
Maria.
So our president, as we know, has been at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, and this is the 77th meeting. And in his farewell speech yesterday, he said that, I would like to read it verbatim. He says, as president, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. He goes about to talk about, he goes on to talk about democracy and how even though the will of democracy is slow, but, you know, he feels that that's what gives every government the legitimacy to make a positive impact or change in their country. And then he talks about how our country in various ways we have supported democracy. He talked about Gambia, Guinea-Bissau and Chad, and how Nigeria has played a part with other African countries to, you know, sort of entrench democracies in these countries and in Africa as a whole. He just says that this will be his very last. He said he had done, he had been at one of these meetings as a military head of state, and then, you know, years later, 30 years later or 31 years later, he's there as, you know, a democratically elected president. But this will be his very last, and the next one will be represented by a different leader. And so that was why he was saying that one of his legacies will be that he makes sure that we have free and fair elections going forward.
Okay, let me take the major headline because it's still about the issues going on within the PDP. So there's no end in sight yet because the vanguards of the ASUU must go are joining they're saying that they're not going to support the Atiku Abubakar campaign for presidency if ASUU does not step down. And many of them gathered and mentioned they've urged them, although Atiku has responded, and urged them to reconsider the position because, according to him, ASUU can only be brought down via a constitutional process. But however, Chief Judge maintained that the position was not negotiable, that they're going to insist that ASUU steps down, especially because they've tried to get the entire PDP to accept and see the need to make that, to have the chairmanship come to South and not stay in the North. However, now that they've agreed that they're going to be opting out of the Atiku Abubakar campaign, that's a major threat to the campaign of the PDP because they need everybody together to be in sync for the campaign. Unfortunately, the team are insisting. I was going to read a quote exactly from the Chief Judge saying that he said the group was, they said that the support for Wike was neither because he lost the presidential, the primaries, but because they're backing him because he's standing for justice, fairness, and equity, and recalling that the party was founded on such principles and they're going to insist on that justice for the party. Okay?
Yeah, so
he also said that, because I watched him as well, and he also said that he wasn't going to, it wasn't because they will leave the party, that they're not leaving the party. They're making that protest by staying in the party, but they will not participate in the campaign. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has revealed that we are losing 95.4 million liters of crude oil daily, and he converted this by saying that that will amount to 600,000 barrels being stolen of crude oil stolen daily, and a barrel of crude oil produces 159 liters of petrol every day. And he said that's the amount that is being stolen. He talked about collaboration of the security agencies in this stealing that is happening. He was appearing before the House Committee on the House Committee investigating this, oil lifting thefts, and the impact of the petroleum production and oil revenues in Nigeria. And he says that already we have a deficit of, we produce about 1.23 million barrels of crude oil per day, and we are not meeting the OPEC quota of 1.8 million barrels. We are losing $2.1 billion. That's 877 billion naira because of that deficit that we have, that we're not being able to meet up. And then this oil theft that continuously happens within. Pegasus, the National President of Pegasus too have talked about how the security agencies are collaborating. Everybody recently have been talking about how this oil theft is happening in our broad daylight. Other countries have been able to stem thefts happening in their region, but we seem like it is an equivalent
rocket science
to do here. Of course, there's collaboration, and he says there's also a deliberate intention of the security agencies to remain in areas where oil theft is happening. When their superiors are moved, they pay highly to other superiors to be deployed to those areas because of how lucrative it is to secure those areas. Right. Because of course, because of how the corruption that is happening there. I don't think that this is rocket science. This is something that can easily be done if we're a serious nation.
Okay. Yeah, Ngige has said that the court order, because the court has ordered the ASUU to go back to the classrooms, and he has said, oh, that won't stop them from negotiating. They will still sit down and negotiate, but that they should go back to the classrooms. And meanwhile, ASUU have said they are going to do a stay of execution. They don't. They're going to appeal the court's decision. So that means they're not going back to the classroom. The government has said that they're going to ask the vice chancellors to go back to the classrooms. But
should we just build a new university?
Students are saying this is not fair. Yeah. The parents are saying, "No, please go back. Let our children go to school." They ASUU themselves, Oshodeke said that it is like if you are a doctor, you ask a doctor to treat you. You suspend a doctor or something. You force a doctor to treat you. Will you feel comfortable going to let the doctor treat you? No. You won't feel comfortable. So even the students will not be comfortable. Them forcing their lecturers back to school.
That's true.
So.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're now going to review the Punch. ASUU must go. PDP call emergency meeting over governors and others gang up. Onga, that's Buhari promises credible polls. I think we took that story. No post-conviction bill for Baba Ijesha. Court rules. Forces hack bank, transfer 523 million naira to 225 accounts. Hoodlums raid Ogun communities, kill 3, police investigate. Northern Christians will mobilize against the Muslim tickets Lawal. Court sets aside $47 million Paris Club payment judgment. And Senate confirms Ariwola as new CGN, gets agenda. Okay?
Okay, let me talk about...
Go on, man.
Okay, the hackers. So these hackers, they attacked a particular account. They said this account is domiciled in an old generation bank. And they hacked this account and transferred over 500 million naira from the account. They said immediately they did that. It took them 3 days to do this whole operation. They took out that money, then they distributed it into 18 different accounts within the bank. Then the moment they did that, they now transferred it to about 25 different, 225 other accounts in 22 banks. Yeah. Sharply. Thank God our police caught them. at least they said one person is in their custody, and that so far over 160 million has been recovered. Then there's another story of one Sikiru or Lainka. That one, $123,000 landed in his account. It was not for him. They said as the money landed like this, when he saw it, he ran to the bank, withdrew immediately 120. The banks were trying to get in touch with him to say, Uncle, it's not your money. They say he didn't listen to them. He immediately transferred the different accounts. Anyway, he has been caught. Nigerians, how do we even do that? And he has a company. It's a corporate account. But I don't know how we think.
Wow.
How do you think that they will not be caught?
Money that is not your own.
It's like now
you will not even question.
How did the money get here?
Have the guts to spend that kind of money. Can you imagine? He quickly transferred it.
How did you think you get away with it?
Father in heaven.
If Nigerians can collect charity, somebody wanted to do 5,000 for you in Ramadan and mistakenly did 50,000 and called you and said, it was a mistake. Send the rest back because I'm still sharing to people. Say, no, I've already spent it.
I mean, it's just terrible. Let's take another story.
I will nearly die in your hand if you do that to me. I wanted to take the hoodlums that raided the armed robbers, raided in Ogun State, the Oyede communities, Songo in the Ado-Ota local state, area of Ogun State, and they killed one of the boys, Adewale, one of the residents of the house. They came in and they first tied up the security guard. He came out, not knowing, they shot at him. No, he didn't even know, he thought it was just one. He came to attack, and then as he was attacking one of the armed robbers, the rest shot at him. Another guy, Lekon, came out, heard him screaming, came out to help him. They shot that one too. And when the people thought that the armed robbers had left, as they were leaving, so they were trying to carry the Adewale out. They just saw them. They shot at them again. They dropped the body. He was still alive at that time. They ran back inside, and so they heard him gasp for his last breath, lying down there. They couldn't take him to the hospital. Very, very sad. Police are looking for them.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead.
I wanted to take the Paris Club. So this Paris Club issue of $47 million have been arrested by the Federal High Court in Abuja, where the court ordered that it cannot be paid. So the court has ruled against that payment, that all promissory notes that the MAGF and the Minister of Finance have given issue to the company. Let me get the name of the company, Panic Alert Security Systems Limited, against the governor's forum. That's what they call the name. That all promissory notes, all payments, all checks, any of such things is void with immediate effect. The court has ruled against it, saying that it was a simple contract and that the contract did not carry this cost that they settled at the consent judgment. So the court has overruled that consent judgment. And so we are back to fresh start, hopefully.
So the Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja had rejected the post-conviction bill filed by James Olariwaju, who is also known as Baba Jesha, pending the determination of his appeal. According to the judge, they dismissed the application because Baba Jesha did not meet exceptional circumstances and criteria to warrant the bill. I didn't even know you could apply for a post-conviction bill. So once after you've been convicted, you can apply for bail pending your appeal for the case. I didn't realize that was an option. They're very kind.
But they didn't give it to you.
It was denied. Moving on quickly to Daily Sun. War without end in PDP. Kanu Nwankwo hails Ongwayi as peaceful leader. Erosion, Soludo cries to federal government, says 40% of Anambra's land mass is under threat. Airlines lose billions as Lagos Airport records 93 bird strikes in 6 months. Nigeria too advanced for same-faith presidency, says Apostolic Church. And the UBAP offers to pay $1 million monthly to defray authorities 50 million naira loan. ASUU vows to appeal as court orders lecturers to back to classroom. Newly confirmed CGN denies crisis in Supreme Court. Okay, which story are we taking in, son?
Let me take Soludo. So the governor of Anambra State has cried out to the federal government to assist Anambra State, saying that his state is losing about 40% of his land mass to erosion and water issues. He says that even if the entire budget of the state in 10 years straight is put into this it cannot completely deal with the situation on its own. And I hope that the federal government, because they get this ecological fund and all of this, these are issues that these monies are meant for, will partner them. They are looking seriously to partner other agencies and state governments and federal government on this issue. I've seen the pictures, I've seen videos, I've seen a whole building swallowed by this. I think that we can immediately intervene and do something.
He says that their environment is their number one existential threat. Apart from the security, the erosion is killing the state, and they really need the federal government to intervene.
Yeah, so there was a workshop organized by the Search and Rescue Mission of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, that's NAMA. This happened on Wednesday, and they were discussing the bird strikes that have been happening in Nigeria. They said about 93 bird strike incidents occurred across Nigerian airports in 2022, and that out of this, 54 of these bird strikes happened at the Murtala Mohammed Airport, and that these strikes cost airlines so far 15 billion naira, because that's the cost you spend towards repairing the aircrafts when these happen. And so the stakeholders had this meeting, and they say it's important that they find a lasting solution to this, and they put the blame really on security agencies of the Federal Airports Authority and also airline operators. Someone else also blamed pilots, says sometimes the pilots are in such a hurry to leave that they do not follow the instructions of the air traffic controllers. So we hope that this is something that, is sorted. I didn't know that we had that many birds.
Strikes. I was even going to ask, how do they avoid the birds? How can they avoid the birds?
Yeah, so I guess that's why they have to listen to the air traffic controllers. They would see the birds coming, and they would say, okay, hold on for a bit and let them fly past. But if you're in a hurry, you will just...
All right. Okay, let's take the CGN. The new CGN was responding to questions yesterday. That's Oluka Diariwola, SAN, was responding to questions at the Senate yesterday concerning the issue of the welfare of the judge. If you recall, there was a memo that was leaked about the welfare of the judge, and he was saying that he was equally shocked. All the judges were shocked that this was an internal memo that never should have come out to the press. According to him, some of the justices were appointed back in 2020 have not been given official accommodation. Many of them are coming to work from satellite towns within the FCT, and it says that the issues raised in the memo were still not attended to because of paucity of funds. So the issues are still there, but it wasn't for public consumption. And also, he was also asked about the question on the delay of justice. So he was agreeing that yes, justice delayed, yes, no, it's justice denied. However, justice rushed is also justice denied. So they have to ensure that the case goes through the proper procedure. He said the wheel of justice may be slow, but as long as it is still steady, it will always be served on those who deserved it. So we shouldn't complain that justice is slow.
I like that he asked that, there should be an amendment of our laws to allow some cases stop, just as, appeal case, election position cases stop at the appeal courts. We should have some cases stop because they are overloading the Supreme Court. And then he talked about the issues of them having issues within the Supreme Court, that the justices don't have issues that are not...
Okay, quickly, moving on to Vanguard. Why court ordered ASUU to call off 7-month-long strike. I think Wike took that story. PDP crisis, I can't force ASUU to resign, Atiku insists. Saboteurs in Buhari's government says Kogi Governor Yahaya Bello. Obi's manifesto to be released before campaign, says Patutomi. Buhari to United Nations General Assembly seeks debt cancellation. Leaked memo, no crisis amongst Supreme Court justices, CJN. Autumn begs UN to pay attention to humanitarian crisis in Benue North Central. 2023, government won't fund political parties, says Gbajabia Miller. Tinubu stickers, we didn't impose 500 naira levy on Tricycle, says Lagos State MC Oluomo. And World Peace Day, nobody can eliminate the religion in Nigeria, says Sultan. That's true, that nobody can eliminate any religion in Nigeria. I like to take that story.
I took the 500 naira levy on tricycles. So
yes.
The Lagos State chairperson on Parks and Garages Management Committee, Musli Akinsoya, or popularly known as MC Oluomo, has addressed in a video, and this was reported by the Vanguard, that he was surprised to see stickers being pasted by mischief makers on tricycles, and insisting that he was also being tagged on those videos circulating that he was the one who ordered such things. And he has asked that every of those people caught in such should be immediately arrested and taken to police stations, that these videos are works of mischief makers that are not in any way related to the Parks and Gardens management, and he did not order such. And he also went further to say that the APC presidential candidate is not in need of such ridiculous amounts of money in his campaigns. He's very well supported by people who have means to sponsor his ambition as president of, to vie for president of the country.
So the Sultan was speaking at an event with International Day of Peace, International Day of Peace. Sultan was saying that, and he was addressing the issue of the religious divide we have in our country. He said, no, we can't eliminate any religion over the other. That God, let me say exactly, he said, you cannot eliminate any religion in Nigeria because God who made us created these religions and put us together. Peace is very important for us to progress and develop as a nation. As such, we must not let anyone use religion to divide us, because this is an important statement at this time, because many are using the religion to divide us as a people and using that as a divide amongst Nigerians. And I think it's important for us to remember that, listen, we cannot eliminate one over the other. We've all been living here peacefully together, and I think that should be recognized. Any other story? Saboteurs? Nobody has that story? Okay, I think that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we have a few guests, visitors in us from sponsored segments. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is the CEO of Tingo Incorporated, Mr. Dozie Umobosi. Tingo is one of Africa's leading agri-fintech companies with a diverse portfolio of operations in telecommunications, remittance, healthcare, and agricultural sectors within and outside Africa. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. So tell us about Tingo and how you started the Dozie Umobosi Foundation.
Thanks. I started Tingo about 21 years ago. It didn't start as an agri-fintech business that it is today. We started from a ringtone production business to mobile phone importation to assembling phones, and then down to taking care of financial inclusion needs of rural farmers across Nigeria. And by this time, so speak, we're extending to a few other African countries. And then for the foundation, started the foundation barely a year ago. And the idea is to give back to society, basically starting from Nigeria and then extending across Africa, and touching base on healthcare. And more importantly on healthcare, we focus on prostate cancer. So we launched a few mobile prostate cancer screening clinics across Nigeria, and we have just, we've almost completed a hospital in Lekki, in the Lekki part of Lagos State, where everything possible can be treated, and with a focus on free treatment for prostate cancer and prostate-related issues.
Wow.
Amazing.
What differentiates the foundation from other organizations?
Well, for me, what differentiates us from other foundations basically is that this is a foundation solely owned by my family, and we do not, for instance, accept donations. What we do is we give back 10% of whatever we earn. Myself and my family, we do that back home.
Interesting.
Okay, so giving, I mean, it seems like just a short space of time, what you have achieved from what you just, told us. Would you say that so far what you've done, what are your goals for, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years? Because to me, it seems like you've done so much in such a short time already.
Well, I think we haven't started. Well, my business has been running for 21 years. We've been through ups and downs in Nigeria and in other territories where we operate in. But as a foundation, within 1 year, of course, we've set up a very solid team back in Nigeria. And this team makes sure that we deliver all of the things I have set out to do on a daily basis. Between now, in fact, let me start from last year. We had a 3 to 5 year plan. And looking at prostate cancer, we want to ensure that we collaborate with community leaders across Nigeria first before we extend to other African countries and possibly, everywhere you find a black man on earth. Because, prostate cancer is a major killer of black men. For us, in the next 2 more years, since we said last year, is to make sure that we move across Nigeria and make sure that every man is screened and treated, for prostate cancer and other prostate cancer-related issues. So, working with community leaders and religious leaders, both Muslims and Christians and even other religions, so long as we're able to reach out to all these, rural communities and even urban communities, we're able to, sell our idea, basically sell in the sense that we need to, convince them to come out for their screenings, and then where treatment is necessary, we ensure that they do that. So we plan to do 37 mobile clinics. The way we have done what you call luxurious buses in Nigeria, we call coaches. We have refabricated these coaches and built a 2-bed clinic in each of these buses, and they go around communities. As we speak, I believe they are somewhere, for the southwestern part, we have deployed one heading to Ile-Ife, and they have just left Ekpe and going to Ile-Ife. So you don't just deploy 37 buses overnight, but we believe that in 3 years' time, we must have deployed 37 buses. At the moment, we have just 4 moving across. We've deployed in the southwest region of Nigeria, the southeast, and of course the north central and northwestern part of Nigeria.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Who are the people who qualify for this, for the benefits of this foundation, and what do they have to do to get the treatment or help from your foundation?
Anyone who needs help in terms of, for healthcare, first focus is prostate cancer. That is a topic very dear to me. So long as you are above 40, definitely you see our buses moving around. And of course, we're working with community leaders, both political, and religious leaders, to ensure that this is sent across every community in Nigeria. So you don't need anything special. You just need to be a black man or any human being, any man above 40 in any part of Nigeria will be able to reach out to you.
So, all right, so why prostate cancer specifically? Why did you have a personal story to that effect? And are you a doctor?
Yes, I'm not a medical doctor. My father had this. If my family didn't have the resources to deal with this, he will be gone by now. But my father is very alive, is very healthy today, and I want every black man on earth to have that opportunity to receive treatment.
Wow.
We always say that we don't hear, stories like yours, like we go through issues and we see Oyinbo people do it, we don't see Nigerians. So it's really good to hear that because your father was able to survive it, you want that for every black man. But you also recently launched your foundation in London. I hear it was well celebrated. Many people of importance were there. Why did you do that, and in what way would this impact your foundation?
Oh, you see, my team in Nigeria, it's difficult to find me anywhere discussing or talking to press men or media people. They have said to me, look, those you need to sensitize the public and of course the global public, There are partners we have, even on the business front. It's important, they say it's important for us to have, our partners see what we are doing, because being Nigerian, it's important for us to be able to also show the rest of the world that you're not just a successful Nigerian in the UK or in the US and you're not giving back home. We want to give back to, our motherland and of course our country, which is very important. So it was important for us to, do that event to showcase what the foundation is doing and, encourage other Nigerians in the diaspora to find a way to support home. Because if we don't support our brothers and sisters back home, there will be no country to go to.
So that's great news. So what other countries are you looking at, taking this to in Africa? Or is it only for Nigerians?
Well, yeah, of course, I'm Nigerian, so Nigeria first. And everywhere our business benefits, we are going to be there. So we are aggressively growing our business and establishing our footprints across Africa, from Ghana to Senegal, through one of our business partners, Akon. We are extending into Senegal very shortly. So everywhere you find Tingo, my foundation will be there to support every black man, in terms of healthcare. And then, again, we don't focus on just healthcare. We are also beginning to adopt schools. There is a particular case we are looking at right now where I was sent the report and I saw that the founder of this school somewhere in the Ajingle part of Lagos, just takes plastics from parents of his students to, he recycles them, and then that's how he runs the school. Unfortunately, they have been evicted, and we're just buying a property for them, and through that model, modernize schools in slums. We need to keep building some of these things, new ideas and getting young people to imbibe proper cultures and ways of doing things.
All right, so I know that. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. You've installed the screening device. Have you recorded a success rate, or what is the success rate?
So far, we have we launched this about the screening clinic was launched about 6 months ago, I believe, and so far we must have screened about 12,000 men, if I'm not mistaken, 12,000 plus and counting. And we've recorded about over 70 cases, and we're attending to those 70 cases.
Interesting.
And
so
we're using this medium to encourage men, wherever you see the Dozimobosi prostate cancer screening bus, and whenever you hear of it, please join them and get screened, and we're here to support and provide whatever treatments you need.
So, I think Mariam touched this a bit, because your foundation obviously is involved in education, technology, entrepreneurship, healthcare, and so much. So it's clear you're trying to do your own part to get involved. How do you measure the success so far of these various parts that you're involved in?
Okay, we're a data-driven group, so down from our business, and of course for me as an individual, everything I touch has to be data-driven. So we're able to track from start to finish. So we have testimonies from everyone we have touched. So we clearly see those who have impacted. So it's basically from a data-driven point. That's the only way we're able to track and follow up on whatever it is we're doing. Maybe at some point we'll be able to get the media in Nigeria or wherever to see these things, and also use the media to sensitize people. We don't necessarily need to wait for governments to do everything for us.
Some people, some people are listening and think, oh, you're doing amazing. In what way can an individual who is inspired by your story be involved in your foundation?
Well, we just want them to sensitize others. I want to also use this medium to say to people, we do not accept donations. Wherever you see that we're accepting, it must be a scam or something. We don't need money from anyone. We just want to encourage Nigerians to find a way in their hearts to support whoever they need to support. You know, when you hear of anything, please just find a way to support this person. We don't need
donations.
So we just want to sensitize everyone. If 1,000 of us can do this, I think Nigeria will be a better place today.
All right, so is there a phone number? Is there a contact? Is there a website? Is there an Instagram handle that people can go to get more information about the Dozimobosi Foundation?
I'm going to fine you for mispronouncing my name. We have a website, is dozimobosifoundation.com. So you can get all the information you need from there.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Dozimobosi. I got it right. Foundation, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you, sir, on the show.
Same here. Thank you.
Regards to your family and your father for the great work you guys are doing. And we hope to support you in any other way we can to get more men to get tested and hopefully have some kind of help in this situation. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in another guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Rural Properties' ultimate goal is to be a leading world-class team and a point of reference for quality, excellence, and affordable real estate services in Africa. Join us on the show is the investment manager of Rural Properties and Allied Limited, Halima Oladipo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you on the show. So tell us about your new estate, Halima.
Okay, good morning, viewers. My name is Halima Oladipo, and like she said, we are in the business of real estate, and our ultimate goal is to be a leading world-class team and a point of reference for quality, excellence, and affordable real estate services within Africa and beyond. And in so doing, in the space of 4 years, we have been able to establish over 30 estates within Lagos, Ibadan, Ogun State, and even in Abuja. And we are not stopping there, we are still moving. And in the month of September, we have launched a new estate at Ekpe. It's located at Odo Inyogushi, Igbola, Ekpe. This is a very, very fast-growing and developing area, and it promises to give you return on your investment as fast and swift as possible. This estate's launch price is going for 650,000 naira for 300 square meters, and is going for 1.2 million naira for 500 square meters. This is a very limited offer because by October 1, you will not be buying at this price again. So the best time to buy is now because it's a hot cake, and we have very few plots available within this estate. Trust me, those that bought...
What is the promo happening?
No, the promo on this new estate is what I just mentioned now, because it's still new. But trust me, the price is way more than that for people that will be buying later. So the real value for 300 square meters is 800,000 naira, and for 500 square meters is 1.5 million naira. But if you are buying within now and now and September 30, we're buying for 650,000 naira for 300 square meters and 1.2 million naira for 500 square meters.
Where's the area again? Just
It's at Ekpe.
Ekpe.
Yes, and Ekpe is a very, very beautiful location. I've been there a couple of times. You know, very good road network. The roads are tarred, and it's a very peaceful town, if you ask me. It has universities. We have the Augustine University in Ekpe. We have the Pan-African University very close to the estates. We have the Ekpe Resort and Spa. Beautiful places in Ekpe that you can even visit. It's a very, very beautiful place, if you ask me.
Yeah, so what there, it's really beautiful. It's the road to get there that's not beautiful.
They are doing the road.
No, if you're going through Shagam, in fact, your journey is going to be very
I should be coming from Abeokuta.
No, not
because
from
if I'm coming from Lagos, I will enter this traffic here.
No, the traffic is only when you're coming back.
But if you now live
And it's
there,
just for
you
the
have
daytime.
Okay, let's go
what
back to
documents are available for this particular
Okay, for this
property?
particular estate, it's a freehold document that is available. That means it's completely free. There is no issue of government or anything. It's a freehold, and documentation is in fact, is seamless. It's seamless.
Do you have any payment arrangements that can favor people? You know, sometimes all hands are not equal. All fingers.
Definitely, definitely. We have other estates within Lagos, Ibadan, Ogun State, and even Lugbe in Abuja. And these estates are available for up to 24 months payment plan. We try to make people feel as comfortable and as, I don't know how to put it. We like to help people.
Make it convenient for
Yes, to make it very convenient for people, as convenient as possible. Everybody deserves to be a landowner.
Yes.
Everybody deserves to be a landlord. If you even think of the problems of landlords, and even you want to be a landlord. So we try to make the journey as convenient as and easy as possible for people. We have up to 24 months. If you cannot do 6 months, if you cannot do outright, you can do 6 months. If you can't do 6 months, you can do 12 months. There's 18 months, and there's even 24 months. And the good thing is, to celebrate Nigeria's independence, we are going to be giving up to 40% discount on outright payment. And even if you are not doing outright payments, there's still discount for you. If you are doing 6 months, you still get
40%?
Discount. Yes, up to 40%.
So that 1.2 million.
So that's discounted already.
Oh.
But I'm talking about other estates. For the other estates at Ekpe, at Ikorodu, at
don't run.
at Lugbe, at
Go find money.
How can we reach you to get this?
Okay, you can reach Rollard Properties via our website www.rollardproperties.com. You can reach us on social media platforms at Rollard Properties Ltd. You can reach us via our phone contacts being displayed on the screen, and you can also walk into any of our offices within Abuja, Lagos. We have 2 branches in Lagos. We have one on the mainland at Bagada. We have one on the island at Lekki Phase 1. And we have one at Salolo, that's towards Ogun State. So you can reach us anywhere, any day, anytime. And we also encourage people that before you pay for any of these properties, come and see what you are buying. There's nothing to hide. These landed properties are dry. They are on table lands, and just come and see it.
Yeah.
Come and see it before you drop anything. When you see it and you are satisfied with what you are seeing, then fine.
Right. Okay.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
You always sell your market.
I'm telling you, you
Sell your
inspire
market. I hope they're paying you to correct
Definitely.
commission. Yeah, they are speaking and
I
laughing
haven't
as
bought your
well.
car yet, sir. Have you bought your car?
It's always a
At
pleasure.
the park.
It's always a pleasure hearing you talk about Roller with such passion.
Thank
It
you.
shows that it's a
Thank
good
you.
place to
You're my
work, obviously.
WCW.
So because of you, we're going to find money to go and support.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so.
All right, thank you so much.
you.
Any other thing?
Rollard.
You have your money never finished. You have 1 more minute. Anything else?
Okay, so one thing I can assure you of is that these estates are located at very, very safe and secure locations.
Okay.
And when you buy Rollard Properties, trust me, you're buying peace of mind. You don't have to buy your property and be worried and be like, I don't know how my property is. Maybe Omonile will come and snatch it from me. Maybe Agberos will disturb me. When you buy Rollard Properties, trust me, you're buying peace of mind, and you can sleep with your 2 eyes closed.
There's something about lunch if you buy.
Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention.
Hey,
so if
cannot
you are
forget
buying, if you are buying the new estate and you are paying as low as 250,000 naira, you get a free launch date for 2. And it's not just that. If you are paying on outright payments, you also get 10,000 naira, 25,000 naira shopping voucher alongside your free launch date when you buy the new property at Ekpe. And this offer is only valid until September 30th.
You're doing independence for us.
When you say lunch, not rice and chicken, no, we want proper
proper
lasagna
lunch.
type
Chinese or
Proper
Japanese.
lunch in a 5-star
all those
hotel.
Now you're talking.
You should trust
The
Rollard
Serere
on
one,
that.
Abi?
Yes.
How is Wike's land doing?
Our land is doing very well, and it's appreciating every day.
I've been sleeping with my 2 eyes
Oh,
closed since you gave me that land.
Okay, that is all. It's Thursdays. I'll gist it. They will not gist it today because all of you come and say market. But thank you very much.
Thank
It
you
was a
for
pleasure
having
having you.
me.
We always like when you come on the show. It's fun.
Thank you.
So regards to Laura and listen, Rolla, they've been here for a while, so They are definitely somebody we know. At least we have land with them. I can vouch. I can tell you.
I'm your, what they call it, poster girl.
Ambassador.
Ambassador.
That is all we can take on this segment. When we come back, let's start with our Gist in Thursday. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. This morning, we're going to be discussing the evolution of church doctrines. Growing up, many of us have seen, heard, observed, and seen various church doctrines that we were raised with. And as we're growing up to become adults, some of these doctrines have changed in our faces. And we look back and reflect, what changed? Because they tell us the Bible is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So these doctrines that somewhat shaped us are now somewhat being have been evolved into something new. What am I referring to? I'm referring to the recent comments by Dr. Kumuyi of the Deeper Life Bible Church, where he was accusing some of the church workers of insisting that some ladies should tie their hair before coming into church. He was saying that some of those people may not be saved. You shouldn't insist on these things. Let them come in and fellowship with God, because that's the real objective. And obviously, those comments went viral. Many people were shook, saying, is this not the same church that did not allow us, first of all, to wear earrings? There was a time you can't watch TV. There's a time you couldn't, you have to cover your hair. I remember, that I came home and then I was out, but I think it was my mom's sister to also give her life to Christ. She was going to Deeper Life Church, and there were so many restrictions. She can't do this, she can't do that, And I was enjoying the restrictions because I was just a newly saved girl. I just felt really pious and all that, But many of us were shaped by it. Some of us broke up with husbands because of it, or men felt that their wives were backsliding because they grew their hair longer, or they wore earrings, or did something. So it broke a lot of homes. Many of these doctrines were such that families were torn apart because somebody says you must adhere strictly, and now one says, well, we can do a bit. I can wear trousers in the house. I don't have to wear it outside. I can wear it within the house, and it causes a lot of home problems in the home. Where you will bring it to a pastor, say, you wear trousers, So we're now saying the evolution we've observed. What does that mean to us? And what are your thoughts on this new comments coming from especially Dr. Kumuyi, who many have seen that was a very, very strict conservative pastor?
I don't clear.
Okay. So for me, I was shocked. I was shocked because growing up, I think our own generation were the ones that saw real life, just the doctrine of Deeper Life Church in action. We knew of our friends who, would not interact or associate with you because you were not from that particular church and you dressed a certain way or you spoke a certain way. And I remember also a few girls that, for me at the time, I felt they seemed unhappy because as young girls, you'd want to dress and go out and just be excited. I'm not talking of doing bad things, just be a normal human being. But they seem a lot more conservative. I'm as conservative as I am, but these people were even extra conservative. And they didn't do it like they were happy about it, I used to say about them that they always seem angry. And I felt that because you are not allowed to just be your natural self, in a good way, but just your natural self, this could impact you. And so I'm sitting down right now, I'm thinking, if I were in their shoes and I heard this, right, I'll be upset about it. I'll be upset because it took something away from me, and I believe at the time I was doing it for God. So you know how it is. Yes, this is a sacrifice I'm making for God, and now today I'm hearing that I didn't have to make that sacrifice. That sacrifice was not really, you know. So maybe for them, the only way they can rationalize it would be, okay, there's a doctrine for a time and a season. So maybe for that time and season, but now for the new time and season, for their children and their grandchildren, it's a different one. But personally, when I remember some of those girls, I feel bad for them. And I wonder the sort of questions they'll be allowed to ask in church now. So what has happened? What is different? Is there a different anointing?
You know, when we talk about doctrines, so doctrines are just rules, guiding rules that various sects could choose to have. So, for example, in my church, for example, you have to wear, the pastors have to wear a suit. There's a dress code. You can't keep a beard. You know, you have to look a certain way. But we're also seeing in different churches across the world, pastors are wearing jeans and T-shirts, talking, you know, just wearing your regular slacks, and they're just really comfortable, and people communicate. So doctrines are they're not totally from the Bible, but they are just somebody coming together and saying, this is a guide, this is a rule that guides this. So rules can change, and I think that's where the closure can come in, where even though you were one of those people, you can understand that these were doctrines. They were not like totally, I mean, that's just my own thing. These are just doctrines that could have changed.
When you say closure, what about the lives that were ruined, marriages that separated because of these doctrines, which is Marian's point? You know, it's all right for you to say, oh, my eye don't clear, don't go by this rule again, go by this rule. How are you going to address the lives that you ruined in that process of discovering that your doctrine was not the right one?
Okay, let me see if I can defend him, because in the article or the post by the blog that we read it, he said he was addressing the people. He said if somebody's coming to the church for the first time, you don't know whether that person has not even discovered God, and you're insisting on these rules. That if I were such a person, I wonder what kind of church I'm in. He was addressing his workers. So this is my point. It could be that, you know, these doctrines were more enforced by workers. Some people I don't want to use the word on the street, where they'll say, what's it back, we're messing or that kind of a thing. You do overdo it. You know, you take it out of proportion.
Yeah.
These things, in my religion, we say that Islam is easy. For most of us who enjoy it, we find it easy. But for those who, it toughens their life, they become a problem onto family. They are, you know, harsh, they are suspicious, they are unnecessarily judgmental, and a lot of all those things. That is totally unreligious from Islam. So I would use this same point to make the point that it could be those people who were, even church was overzealous, who wanted to overdo it. And, you know, before you knew it, it became the identity of the entire system. Because he went for that, the one that, you know, Miriam will address that, you know, these coverings cause heat in the hair, make women have body odor, and all of those things. If he didn't believe in it, it could be his workers overdoing their work.
No, but he would have seen it over time, that this is what is happening. He would have seen the way he's noticed that people who are not even part of the church are being, ushers are enforcing that they do not come in without their head covering. He would have noticed this conversation because it became a worldwide conversation. Nigerians sat down constantly to talk about this. I remember there was a lady who was supposed to get married in one of the parishes of this church. And the conversation was about how she would do her hair and if she would wear any jewelry at all. It became, and at that time it was a sad point between her and the groom's family because they didn't understand why they couldn't come in and just be excited and rejoice during that period.
And it caused a strain that probably wasn't.
Yes. So I think eventually that particular wedding was moved to maybe just the registry or something because the other family was not specifically from that church. And also they had a particular doctrine that you had to maybe marry your type, but if you didn't, it caused a strain like this. I'm just saying that it now makes us think, okay, if we go to a church today, how long before this doctrine expires? And is this, and you know, the way you tried to explain, you said there's doctrine and then there's the word of God. And I guess people now need to understand, when you come to church, there's the word of God that comes straight directly from the Bible, but there's doctrine, but the doctrine is is the translation or representation of what is in the Bible, because the doctrine does not stand on its own. They will tell you to go to the Bible, and they say in the Bible, this is what that's why we got our doctrine from there. I just think going forward is we should know what we feel comfortable with. We should remember that our personal relationship with God is what comes first and foremost. We should understand that it's not really, about the
apparel.
Yes, but our relationship, kindness to humanity, humility, those things that build character, those are the things that are most important.
Yeah, I think we can go on a break because I'd like to take a few comments on social media to hear your thoughts on this, because as I said, it's about evolving doctrines, because these are rules made to guide, to ensure, to help you and to help us. And the idea really is for to help a congregation to continue to stay within the tenets of the Bible or the Quran. So the idea really is, should our doctrines are allowed to evolve, and when they do evolve, should we accept it as it is? That's really the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this evolution of doctrines. And let me quote Pastor Kumuyi here. He says specifically, there are some wives who dress shabbily and are no longer attractive to the man. There are some single sisters that are not presentable. Anybody who is looking for the will of God will not find you or will not be attracted to them. He says that he wondered why some sisters in church would cover their heads for almost 20 hours a day, saying that many have made themselves unattractive to their spouses. These are interesting conversations coming from Pastor Kumuyi. And the reason is because many of us sisters, I remember I was a sister. I wasn't as strict as this hair covering. But I know there are lots of sisters in our church who will cover their hair from morning to night because, of course, you're just supposed to cover your hair. And here is the man of God saying, you can't do that if you're trying to be attractive. You have to at least be a woman. And he's saying that to wives too. Wife to sister, mommy, lagbaja, our mommy. Everybody wants to be mommy. Mommy, don't call them by their name. It is mommy this, mommy that. They'll cover their hair from morning to night. So that pastor is saying, you can't do that because you'll be attracted to your wife, to your husband anymore. Is this a new, am I hearing right?
Baba don't change.
I really want to know what has caused the change, because for me, it's just such a huge contradiction and shift from what
Baba has gone with the... He's gone
not only that, Pastor Oyedepo's wife, Pastor Oyedepo's wife too, echoed exactly the same thing. He said, why are you dressing like old women?
She was addressing single people. That's why you're not cashing.
Yes, you're cashing. You're dressing like old women.
You should pack it.
They have gone digital. Our pastors have gone digital. You know the world is digital now.
Let me take Onome from Wally first, if I'll come to you guys. Onome from Wari, thanks for calling. You're alive.
Thank you. You like what 1 million was saying, change is change, and change is dynamic, That's what we change. So you know that, those marriages that break at that particular time, I think the men will not ready or the ladies will not ready. That's what they think. Times are changing, and it's not changing.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
So, for those people who decide to break their marriage at that particular time, there's no problem about it, because we just really compare them. We just really compare them to come to the church. They made their minds to the members of that church. That's what we think. So whatever happened at that particular time is past. This is a new revolution now, and the mind is going with the changes, in the system now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Onome. I didn't get most of what she said,
but she's saying change is dynamic. Times are changing, and she kept emphasizing that the times have changed, and so the rules have changed. That is where the fear comes for me. Because God has not changed. And if it was this same rule that we're supposed to use to find God, such that for Feto Oyedepo, the wife of Pastor Oyedepo, who said to the young ladies that that's why you're not catching men. Do you know how many women, I know women personally close to me, they're the kindest, most beautiful-hearted people, but they've been so religious for years, they're in their 40s, it doesn't seem like they can socialize again to change the situation. It doesn't seem like it. In fact, if they wear any kind of clothes now and come outside, all of us will shout madness because we have never seen them in such a way. They're the kindest, sweetest people.
That's what they use. Your inner beauty is stronger than your outer beauty.
Yes.
That's what was
and
used.
so they lost themselves.
Exactly.
And if you just switch now and say times have changed, when did it change? When it has affected some people's lives seriously?
So that's the real conversation, because we can laugh about it. But the truth is that there are lots of young girls who have been in this bondage, as Pastor Kumuyi has said, for many, many years, because they focus on their inner beauty. The outer beauty, they don't care for themselves. They don't socialize. They don't go out. They rather cover their hair from morning to night, feeling that they will find a brother who is like them in the house. Unfortunately, these brothers are not being caged. They are looking for all sorts of excitement.
You know the one that is even more detrimental that I have seen is that if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you cannot cross over to another church to marry.
Yeah.
And that has held too many fine women from even trying outside. If you matchmake some of them, they'll be like, I can't go on a date just for lunch. I can't do it. You can't do what? You know, it's against our doctrine. You will find in church, and you've spent years of service, and there's no system there to avail you. The person is not single in their old age. You're not telling them in their old age. That's their decision. So it's a choice, and the consequence of it is theirs.
Another thing I've noticed, I'm not talking of Pastor
Let me take Sunday. I'll come to you, sweetheart. Sunday's been holding. Good morning, Sunday. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I just want to make a contribution about we are having a major problem in the Christendom, and as a result of the fact that a lot of people, most of the time,
Oh, we lost Sunday. Yes, Mary, we're saying something.
No, there's something I also noticed for some of the men of God. I'm not talking of Pastor Kumuyi in particular. They started their ministry when they were quite young, before they started having their own children. So some things they were very passionate about. Then you have your children, and then your children want to have, want to dress a certain way. They go to school, they want to be a certain way. And then you're unable to defend your own children's behavior besides what you have asked your congregation to, to behave. And then over the years, then you come and soften it. I really do think that this Deeper Life Church owes its congregation an apology if it's going to change this doctrine now. I think our last caller, the previous caller, was trying to say something about it's a new message, it's a new anointing, but many people have been affected by this. It was not only that the way that they looked, it was also the way they behaved. This is on whether you like it or not, believe it or not, it's something we discuss all the time. People, especially the ladies, they just always seemed unhappy. They just always seemed angry. And I believe strongly that it had to do with the fact that you are you're a young person finding your life, and then you have put these restrictions that did not match. Caged. Yes. And then to say to you today that, the way that we have asked you to be all these years is not the right way. The fact that they close their hair for so long is because when they're outdoors, that's when they're supposed to be unattractive to the male gaze. You don't want to attract the male gaze. So the only gaze that you were supposed to attract was the holy gaze that would look past the way you look to your heart.
You know that men are attracted by what they see. So when you say be unattractive to the male gaze, and you say find a husband, how do you marry?
Because you expect the husband. Let me answer that question. The kind of husband you're looking for is not the kind of man that gazes. It's a man that sees your heart, because you're a child of God. He sees you, so he sees you beyond your physical. That's what we expect. Let me take this call again. I'll come to you, Nima. Good. I think it's Bola. Bola, are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I was actually in the church the day Pastor Kumuyi preached this message. He was expounding on the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 10, about women covering their heads, that because of the angels, and which is normal, and that's how we grew up. It's in the Bible, biblical doctrine, for women to cover their heads, especially when they are praying. But he cautioned that some ushers, they are so conscious of, this person is coming to the church and we did not cover your head. To explain that is that it is not good for ushers
So more or less, you are discouraging somebody coming maybe for the first time. If you're a deeper life member, of course, you cover it. You understand? Another church does that. CSC Church, I know them in Perez when I was growing up. Now, he was trying to caution the ushers that when they come in, usher them in, let them come and receive the word of God. And when they come in, it's not that you are so conscious of, you go and look for something and say, oh, yes, put it, cover your head. By the time he or she is convinced, she is convinced about the message, of course, she will follow suit. You understand me now? And let me tell you out something that, at the same time, cleanliness is next to godliness. That's one of the things Pastor Kumuyi is trying to correct that. There are some of us who cover our ears for 24 hours. The observation was to come to him as the general overseer of the church. There are some women cover their ear for 24 hours and they need for correction. And that was why he was correcting it. Allow ear to blow into your ear and then you look attractive. You look good. The attractiveness Pastor Kumuyi is talking about is not to extravagant one, excessiveness to the extreme. No. The church speaks about moderation, and they teach about moderation and we follow suit. And apart from that, you discover that in the area of marriages, the Bible teaches one man, one wife. Deeper life is stand upon that, and we are still preaching it up to today. So if you are
Okay, so I think I was going to ask Sister Bola about this, to ask her. So, because I was reading his exact words, where it said that there are women who dress shabbily and are no longer attracted to the man. So, we get a lot of these things. I mean, those of us who are more at this age, we try to evolve in what we do. But what we learned is that there's a way a Christian woman looks. There's a way you're supposed to look. And that's the way even a Muslim looks. But your men, I'll let you, but your men understand. So to answer your question, well, it's not about this. Because a Muslim man knows he's not looking for he's looking for the heart. He's looking for the Islamic lady. So he knows that even if I cannot see everything, I'm looking for somebody beyond the physical.
I wanted to answer that, when Waike was saying, are they expected to meet? And now that Bola has talked about it, there should have been a clear distinction, an explicit one, on the outside appearance as opposed to the inside. When you make a woman think that she has to be holy 24/7, of course she will cover 24/7.
Yeah.
In my own religion, for instance, sex is holy. It is worship. When he's married, when you are legitimately married to somebody, dressing up to please your spouse is holy. For a man, my husband too must present himself in a way that will not turn me off. Yes, it is also legislated. So these are things that they should have made easy. Then, if you're a society that, you have a certain kind of doctrines that can affect the lives of your people, you also make the marriage arrangement easy there. We are open to matchmaking in Islam. It's okay. In fact, it is supposed to be because your father is supposed to accept your proposals as a young virgin girl. So maybe a divorcee, you are allowed to maybe look a bit. But, as a young virgin, it's supposed to be these things are made easy. I grew up never thinking this was a burden because I knew that everything that made it easy is allowed. I dress as I like. I come in. All the things I want to do, I do within the protection of my home. And so in marriage, I do the same. I'm allowed to say, oh, I can't take this guest right now because I'm doing this and this. But if you're made to think that, it is unholy to even buy spaghetti, one, and in your own household, or that when you want to some Muslims do it, when they'll believe that, no, when you're in prayer mode and you want the angels to come in, you can't be naked. I sit with my husband praying, and sometimes my husband will say, there's a doctrine that you must cover your head. I say, Uncle, you better pray. Because I grew up knowing you can be sleeping. The Prophet some Muslims will say, no, don't lie in front of me while I'm praying. Whereas there are sayings of the hadith where Aisha would sleep and the Prophet will be praying and use her body as part of the sutra. But nobody will come and enforce that for you. You have to read deep. And if you continue to follow people to interpret your religion for you without using the books, there'll be problems.
Let me take Mrs. King. Mrs. King, are you there from Ibadan? You're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I'm one of your ardent members. I listen to you every day. Thank you so much for the good work.
Thank you, madam.
I want to throw in the line of Miriam. I think Deeper Life really need to apologize to their members. I happen to give my life to Christ in Deeper Life. But honestly, I thank God I left them when I left because they would have broken my marriage. I'm telling you, I have a friend that is a member of Deeper Life. They pack all their jewelry, dump in the well. They were not watching TV. Right now, they are in Abuja. They have been liberated.
they need to apologize to their members. They really ruin a lot of homes. Thank you. God bless you.
So, I mean, listen, I think the Bible doesn't change, obviously, and I think that Pastor Kumuyi is obviously a leader, very well revered, and I don't think he intended to mislead anybody. I think the intention really was to guide and to help the Christian folk within his congregation to grow in Christianity and in spirituality. So I can understand the intention was right. But the crux of what we're talking about is the fact that how these doctrines have affected people deeper than what we are seeing. It's easy to say and say, oh, look attractive. But we know people that we grew up with, that we know they are so pretty. But because of these doctrines, they chose not to come out. And it's as though that they lost a big chunk of their lives. And that's what we're saying, that if the doctrines are going to be changing in the next 10, 15 years, why don't we allow the freedom? Yes, within still moderation, because the Bible says everything in moderation.
Yes.
So if you remove your hair, do it in moderation. If you wear clothes, do it in moderation. Do everything in moderation. Why don't we adhere strictly to what the word is saying and not really worry about the Bible? So for example, let me come to my own church. As I said, my own church, the doctrine is clear. If you're a pastor, you must wear a suit and you can't wear a beard. Now, as of today, that's the doctrine. You have to be clean shaven. Okay. Now, somebody might become the new GO in the next 30, 40 years and say, you know what? You can grow your beard. God gave you your beard. You can wear jeans. You can wear whatever it is on the pulpit. There's nowhere that you don't need to have a certain uniform. Doctrines change. So can't we all also accept that things will change? Doctrines will evolve. But it just so happened that you were affected. You couldn't wear suits then. But now in 30 years, your children can wear jeans on the pulpit in Redeem.
So how
That's just
God change per time. So as we are growing modern, is the book of God being rewritten? Do you understand my point?
Okay. Let me take Chid, and I'll come to you to respond. Good morning, Chid. Chid has been holding for a minute. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, YK.
Good morning.
Nima and my sister. Yes, today's topic is interesting. It is not all about covering your head that matters. It's all about the conscience, your mind. That is what matters. You see, I am not a member of a deeper life. But just like the last caller said, they need to apologize to their members. You see beautiful girls, hardworking girls, they are not married. And the whole so-called husband is not coming to marry them from their church. To worsen the matter, they don't allow their young girls to marry other denominations. I mean, I get worried in this time.
Okay.
I don't think this kind of religion is still existing in any part of the world. And you cover your hair all the time. They look as if they are mourning their parents or mourning their young ones. And in fact, when you look at them, you get tired of the whole thing. So they need to change that doctrine. They need to change their method. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chidi. So, okay, as I said, we don't want to criticize the church. We're just saying that the doctrines, as I said, it's an evolution of doctrines that we're talking about. There was a part of what Pastor Kumuyi said. Let's leave the singles for a second. Married women. You know, especially you're a worker in church, you're a minister, there's a certain way you need to look because you're a leader. Now, are we saying that has also changed? Because we've seen other leaders in other churches change. So let Mariam jump in here for a minute.
Well, you see, the thing is, if you are a young girl, single, growing up, teenager, I'm talking about this particular, I'm mentioning teenagers because I remember it was when we were growing up and you were told this is a particular way to dress and you got married in the fold and you go into marriage. Why do you think you will change in marriage? This is what has been told and taught to you that is the proper way to be, the holy way to be. And then you get into marriage, you just continue what you have been taught. You know, so to now say now to the married women in their marital home that, you know what, the way we ask you to be as a young person, change it now because it is turning off your husband. But it is the way I dress or you allege that it's what got me into this marriage. Why is it now? Yes, why is it turning him off? So see, this doctrine, there's a lot that's happening. I know that older people too, when they're getting older, there are things that they see better. Yes. You know, and there are life experiences that they've gone through, and I just feel that that is what is happening. Because the young girl now who the parent, the woman that is married now has children, and you're saying to her, dress a certain way, but then she has to enforce the way her daughter should dress. And usually our children dress like we do and try to, you know, imitate or emulate us. Yes. So what, apart from the husband now, so what are you telling the children that you're raising? Do you understand? It just seems so miscommunication.
I think that telling a woman to be attractive to her husband is good advice.
It is. It's
good advice because no man is going to want a woman to look unattractive when he comes home from work, because what will happen? He will stop coming home from work. He will start staying out longer and longer, because when he comes to just meet you, you're not making yourself fine for him. He will just... So I think it's a good teaching. If that's what they're teaching now, it's good, and we should actually listen to that kind of advice. As if you're married, you know, don't think that because, oh, I've caught him now, I can let go. No, I don't... And the same applies to the men too. Don't think, oh, because I've caught her now, I can let
What's belly? Let me take this call from Emmanuel. Good morning, Emmanuel. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good
You're
morning.
live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. You guys are discussing something very important. Thank you, ladies. What I want to say is this. Giving 40 years, 50 years back, the Bible says we know in parts and we minister in parts. They didn't know any better at that time. That's because I still want to sincerely forgive them, but over the years, they have realized that if we had known better, we would have acted better. That's the truth, because I'm sure Pastor Kumuyi and every other general overseer are trying to look at their life 50 years back and what is obtainable now. They are not trying to rewrite the Bible, because they are getting better understanding and interpretation, and nobody has an overall interpretation of a particular doctrine and wants to claim ownership of it. So, like one of the ladies said, maybe we should let them begin to apologize or repeat their words, because they have actually caused a lot of damage to some people's life based on those doctrines. It really...
Thank you. So, I mean, I know what I was trying to say earlier. I know some women in church that if they weren't really in church, they wouldn't look the way they look. Yeah. There's some people that they look a certain way because they just feel that we're in church, we're about the business of God. It's not about what I'm dressed in. So, husband and wife both look very scruffy, and they're okay with their scruffiness, and they just very unkempt, and they're fine. But you see, and that's what young people see, and like, that is what I'm going to look like when I'm 60, not when I'm 70. So they see that. But many people are also looking at that, like, it doesn't have to be that way, because you're not looking at other people who are also leaders in other churches and thinking, you see a Pastor Ife of House on the Rock, and see how beautiful this woman looks. I want to be like that. You now see a minister or a pastor in your own church, doesn't look anything like that. You're not comparing. I think it's just like...
Let me give you another example so that it does not look like we are comparing women that dress as conservatively as deeper life people with those who dress, you know, flashily. Yeah. There used to be... You would see a difference between a young girl in deeper life church and a nun in a Catholic church. They are both conservatively dressed, but somehow the nun is supposed to still look... She looks presentable. But the person that comes from Deeper Life Church looks... Yes,
that was then, no, not now.
I'm just telling you what I know. And many people will also attest to what I'm saying. They just looked unkempt. They look unhappy. Do you understand? We grew up wanting to be nuns. A lot of us wanted to be a nun. And you know, as children, we're attracted by what we see. Is the way they carry themselves, the smile on their faces. They just seem nice. Their uniforms, whatever they wore, look neat and beautiful. But with those that went to this particular church, there was nothing attractive. That's the truth. So it was not only unattractive to men, it was unattractive to the people that they were trying to bring into their fold.
But they were attracted to their own people. So those people got married to their own kind.
Sometimes I have seen... What I would love people to do is know when to use your head. You know, my religion, wherever, Quran encourages that you should be discerning. You should use your intellect. So you know when to use that. Because I've seen that doctrines are still these opinion and interpretations of a person. So if my own inclination at the time is, cover, to be spiritual, I would insist on that cover and choke, to be spiritual. And it would affect, there was a young man who married in Islam. The girl was a plain covering, hijabite and everything. And so the friends at the sisters' night were like, just do lali. You know our normal lali now? Yeah. Me that lali almost finished on my body at my wedding. Imagine that the young man now saw her and said she turned him off to the point the girl was afraid. She started using bleach to try to clean it before the morning. By the time we discovered, the girl was already injured, scratching her skin. You know, sometimes the man, when they were talking to him, he didn't see it. He kept saying one person that interpreted it to him that it is sinful. We're like, this is the only allowed form of makeup for a woman on her. And the Prophet says, be merryful, be happy at such events. And you hurt somebody so much. So sometimes this brings just
we have to wrap up on this. But
let me do one final
one. Yes.
The truth is that God made women beautiful. Yes. And I find that sometimes religion, especially as a girl is growing up and blossoming, I'm not just talking of this church in particular, just religion in general seems to want to douse that beauty. A young girl is a young girl. That is how God has created her. She will be attractive, she will be beautiful at a certain age. We should teach them, that you are beautiful and you can be modest about it, but not to the point where we try and cover them up in that time when they are blossoming.
But you need to, when you say religion, I think you should specify it's both religions.
Yeah,
that's why I said
religion.
Just
said religion. I think in a nutshell, I don't agree that Pastor Kumuyi owes anybody an apology. I don't think so. I agree with the man that says that we know in part, and yes, he was speaking at the point of what he knew at that time. And now that things have changed, and I think things do evolve, life evolves, and I think it goes back to what Nima said, that even though you were part of those that took that learning, you should have learned for yourself also and understood and been able to use your mind and your own discerning mind to decide on what you wanted to do. And don't judge, don't blame somebody else for the choices you could have made yourself. You had an important tweet?
No, we have so many tweets.
Please quickly take over.
Okay. Rolake says, this is one of the reasons I never attended church again. They gave strict rules that affected some of us, but later bent the rules to favor some. Yeah. This also applies in some family upbringing, societal values. I realize that rules are meant to be broken.
Nkechi Abok says, those saying women must cover, please, have they read that part that says, but if a woman has long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given her for a covering.
That is all we can take on the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.